NXT took place tonight in Orlando, Florida. From the WWE's Performance Center, the show returned home from Los Angeles last week, and unfortunately they don't have The Rock this week, so they're not going to draw the big rating, but because they're coming off such a big rated show, I think there's going to be a lot of interest for this week, and because this week was such a good show, I think you're going to get good ratings continuing for NXT. It just won't be like it was last week. So we start off with a recap of last week's show, and then our new champion Obafemi comes out to start the show. He is their new champion. He's interrupted quickly by Tony D'Angelo, who's of course the NXT North American champion. Then Ridge Holland comes out, and it starts a brawl between Holland and D'Angelo. Then Eddie Thorne comes and he jumps Obafemi, and that sets up a title match between them, which was set up announced later in the night when Obafemi confronted Ava backstage. So you have Ethan Page backstage. He's using The Rock's catchphrases, and it's kind of funny because he's acting as if he's got a rub, when I thought he looked like a complete fool by The Rock. He argues with some guy backstage who turned out to be his opponent. I didn't even mention his name because he was that irrelevant after the match. Stephanie Vaquer comes out, makes her entrance for her match with Shotzi, which is, of course, the number one contenders match for the NXT Women's North American Champion. The winner faces Fallon Henley. And you have on the break, after Stephanie Vaquer's in the ring, you have Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend arriving. Then we see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, Unholy Trinity, arriving. And then we see a very depressed Roxanne Perez wearing a beanie hat in Florida. Who does that? Arriving, and she's kind of really down, it looks like. And she's selling it well because she just lost her title. I think the Roxanne side, which I'll get into later, a lot to say on that. I think it probably should have been better saved next week because I felt kind of rushed at the end of the show. Anyway, Shotzi comes out. She comes out originally with Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, but they go back. The match they had was not much of a match. It seemed really slow. It just seemed okay to me. It didn't really get going. And then by the time it started to pick up a bit, Jason Jane already came out. She stands on the rope, distracting them, and then Stephanie Vaquer and Shotzi both grab her, pull her in the ring, beat her up for a bit. The referee becomes distracted, and then Stephanie's running the ropes to go after Shotzi, contraring the match. And then Fallon Henley hits Stephanie in the back with her title belt. This allows Shotzi to roll her up for the win, and Shotzi now is number one contender. She faces Fallon Henley for the North American Women's Championship on January 28th, and then you have Stephanie Vaquer suffering her first defeat in NXT, her first pinfall loss. They're setting up her to beat Fallon Henley. Fallon's obviously going to beat Shotzi. They're setting up Vaquer. I think they might do it at Vengeance Day probably, but I would say I kind of wish they wouldn't have beat her like this. I think they could have built it up more until they beat her, but this was her first defeat. I don't think it matters too much. She's going to be a champion soon, and she has a very bright future at NXT and WWE and main roster, I believe. You have Kalani and Jordan backstage. You have all these girls who are supposed to be her competitors trying to cheer her up. She's still down because she lost her title. Cora Jade shows up, and she comes, insults Kalani, and then Kalani gets angry, so she slaps Cora Jade in the face on her birthday. Who slaps a young woman like Cora Jade, such a pretty girl, on her own birthday? Well, she would set up a match with Kalani Jordan later on the show. You had Obafemi backstage. He goes after, he's in Ava's office. He goes after one of the guys who works for, I forget the guy's name, puts him up against the wall, and Ava and her other female assistant tell her to drop him, and it sets up Oba and Oba defending his title against Eddie Thorpe. You have Ethan Page and Dante Chen. That's his name. Last time I'll mention him because he was such a joke in this match. It's just a squash. Ethan crushes him in the match, and after the match, he grabs him. He puts his leg in between the steps at ringside, and he kicks the steps. Basically, looks like he breaks the guy's leg. It looks really painful, and I don't expect to see much from Dante Chen. Javon Evans, however, comes out. He attacks Ethan Page, knocks him to the ground. He looks like he's swinging at Ethan, but then Ethan punches Javon right in the jaw, and then you see blood dripping out of Javon's mouth. It looked really good visual. I'm sure he had to squeeze on or bite down on that whatever some blood pack that they gave him, but it was a cool visual, and that sets up their match, probably at Vengeance Day. So I see Oba Femi walking by. Shawn Michaels in the background talks to Roxanne Perez. Then Adriana Rizzo is recruited by Shawn Spears to leave the family. She cusses him out, doesn't want to. And Izzy Dame's there, and she also tells Shawn Spears to fuck off. So Shawn Spears may as well fuck off because he's doing nothing in NXT. No one cares about Shawn Spears. Shawn, you know who people really like? They like the 10 guy, Ty Dillinger. We want to see Ty Dillinger back. No one gives a fuck about Shawn Spears. He did nothing in AEW anyway. So you have Ashanti and Carmen, and they kiss. This is the worst fucking storyline ever. Why is this still on TV? Why isn't... Oh, this Ashanti... No, this is the worst fucking gimmick. No one gives a shit about the stupid fucking angle. This is the worst song in the history of NXT. I swear, it's that bad. Anyway, we get a recap of our new NXT Women's Champion, the beautiful Madness, Julia. We see her highlights against Roxanne Perez, a very good match I had last week. Of course, they show Julia winning and her celebrating when becoming new NXT Women's Champion, defeating Roxanne Perez. They show all her celebration along with Oba Femi at the end of the show. And then we see a montage of her backstage hugging Triple H, him giving her advice, and Shawn Michaels. And then we see The Rock backstage as well, all talking to Julia, all giving her a run, making her look like a big deal. Really cool to see that. They're pushing Julia, but she was not on the show. I thought she would be on. I thought she made more sense for her to come on first, then Roxanne next week, but we'll get to that later. You have DIY back in NXT, Johnny Wrestling, and Tommaso Ciampa. No one will survive back in NXT. Shouldn't this be a bigger deal? You have Sarah Screever interviewing them, and they talk about Fraxium, and they're setting up a big tag match, but I mean, they're not going to be NXT tag champs again, I don't think. We'll see. Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit more. Then you have Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend, Meta Girls coming out to go up against the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Meta Girls win. Match was alright. Standard NXT Women's Tag match. Okay. You have Lexus King backstage. He looks like he's a babyface. Looks like all the heel is gone. He's with Ava, and he's really proud to have won the cup. And then he's interrupted by Charlie Dempsey, who's initially congratulating him. And then you have Ren Sinclair basically acting all heel, and she's basically pushing for a rematch in front of Ava. So you have Ren as the heel. I guess they're maybe doing tensions between her and Dempsey, but I assume for sure Dempsey's losing again to Lexus King. So Kalani Jordan comes out for a match with Cora Jade, and I have to say, Kalani I thought was well. I liked her in the match. I'm not sure who's taller, because back here it looked like Kalani was towering over Cora. Maybe I'm wrong. But in the ring, it looks like Cora's taller. And of course, it's Cora Jade's birthday. How can anyone beat the birthday girl? She's winning. Anyway, the whole story was Kalani was really pissed off at Cora. She's really aggressive in the match, and she's going after her, and she's getting the upper hand. And as she's swinging at Cora near the end, the ref is holding her back, and this allows Cora Jade to rake Kalani's eyes, and she hits the double arm DDT for the win. So the birthday girl is victorious. Cora Jade defeats Kalani Jordan. We go to an Instagram promo for Eddie Thorpe with his match with Oba Femi. He's happy. He's set up. He tricked Oba Femi into the match. You have a fight between OTF and another random tag team. I forget who they even were backstage before their match with Fraxium. So the NXT Tag Team title match was next. I thought this would go on longer, but then there was a segment after it. You had Fraxium, of course, Nathan Frazier and Axiom going against OTF, defending their titles. First thing I saw was there's a huge fucking height difference, like crazy. The match was a fast-paced tag match. I thought, again, it'd go longer, but it was fun. It was entertaining, as all Fraxium matches are. I don't think they've had bad matches on NXT, bad tag matches. He had the coolest spot in NXT this year right now was all four guys are on separate turnbuckles. On one turnbuckle, closer to the announce table, is Nathan Frazier, and the other one on the other side is Axiom. And Nathan Frazier jumps from the turnbuckle. He does a cross body splash onto one of the members of OTF through the announce table. Awesome announce table smash spot. cool. Then moments later, Axiom hits a Spanish fly, and that looked cool. That was an awesome moment. Then the Axiom hits the golden ratio for the win. Axiom retains. So DIY, however, is in the crowd. They're clapping. Gargano and Ciampa, they're basically clapping but being disingenuous at the same time, being heels, being smug. Axiom stares back at them. We're getting a champion against champion tag team match. If Gargano and Ciampa aren't doing anything at WrestleMania, that would be an awesome fucking match to have if they can do it. But I don't know if they will be able to. They'll probably have something at Mania, I hope, at least for them. But if they don't, they can do that. And then the main event segment was Roxanne Perez coming out. We see her walking backstage, looking as cute as ever. Who does not like Roxanne Perez? She's so cute. And then you have, as she's heading to the ring, actually, we see a car pull up in the parking lot, and we see someone getting out. It looks like a woman. I'm pretty sure it's a woman by the boots. And it's mysterious. Who is it? Anyway, Roxanne Perez is out there. She's out in the ring. When we come back, and I didn't mention how good Roxanne always looks. Anyway, no, stop being like that. I know, I always have to mention how good Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade always look. They're good friends. I wouldn't mind being their friend. Anyway, Roxanne Perez is, she starts off being, she's very emotional at first, but, it's kind of that pretend way, that heel way, that condescending way no one really believes. But she starts off almost convincing. She talks about how she helped make the NXT Women's Division. She helped take it to new heights, including main events. And it's the thing where, she's probably faking, but it is Roxanne that she's leaving to the main roster. That's obvious, so it could be genuine. And then some of it was genuine, obviously. She puts over the NXT Women's Division as the best women's division in the world, which I agree with. It seems like her farewell from NXT. Then she heels up on the crowd by saying that Julia will never lead the women's division to the heights that she did. Roxanne mentions the history of the NXT Women's Division, including the 4 Horsewomen, and how she's basically the only one. That took 4 women to build the division, but it only took her to build this one. And that gets the attention of one of the 4 Horsewomen, and who else but the only one that's active in the WWE right now, since the other 3 are not in. Well, 2 of them are. One of them's not under contract anymore, is with another company, and 2 of them are basically we haven't seen them for months. One of them for over a year. Anyway, Bayley comes out. She gets a massive ovation. This has to be. I can't imagine this is the only time Bayley's been back in NXT. It might be. She has to have appeared in the crowd before, at least. But this is one of the first time we've seen her back. And the thing is, she was never here at the Performance Center. She was always in Full Sail. I miss Full Sail. If only it was in Full Sail, they had the old NXT Bayley Turn It Up theme music that was awesome, with the pigtails in her hair. Oh, I missed that Bayley so much, man. She was so vital to NXT. She was probably the most popular female star in NXT for years. Anyway, Bayley's there, and it's her new gimmick. It's this modern Bayley that I don't care about. Anyway, she tells Roxanne that that Roxanne's at a crossroads in her career. She says that she didn't ask for her advice. Roxanne says to Bayley. Bayley mentions how Roxanne asked for her advice when she was 14 years old in Austin, Texas, and I discovered there was actually a picture of a young Roxanne at 14 with Bayley. I'm not sure when exactly this was taken, but it looks like Bayley NXT and a young Roxanne with her. And this is definitely a dream match for Roxanne, and probably something Bayley wants to do as well. So I'm glad they're doing it. Bayley tells her that the division will be fine without her. She says it always. She basically is saying that the ball always keeps going despite losing woman. That's her point in the large point in the bigger picture. Roxanne asks Bayley why she's here. She mentions how Bayley set records that Roxanne broke them. Roxanne Perez tells Bayley that she was her role model, but now Bayley can now look at Roxanne as her own role model. Bayley tells her that she'll be stuck here while Bayley is going to WrestleMania after she beats Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown. That's not happening, Bayley. I'm sorry, you're losing tomorrow night. or you're losing on Friday night. And Roxanne's probably going to cost you the match. Anyway, Roxanne Perez slaps Bayley. Then Bayley double legs Roxanne. They fight on the ground as the show ends. Really cool segment. Love seeing Bayley back. Love seeing her interact with Roxanne. Big fan of Roxanne. Roxanne's going to get the win, and that's going to be good. There's something I would say is, I mentioned this earlier when I was recording. I think it would have been better if they would have saved it for a while. Save it for next week, because I think they would have gotten more time. I felt a bit rushed because probably the tag match went long. I felt like it could have gone, this should have been saved next week. It would have been a bigger deal. They would have had more time. This did feel a little bit rushed, but I get that they're probably going to have Roxanne cost Bayley the match on SmackDown on Friday, so that's why they did it. I liked it, and I thought it was well done, though. It was still a fun segment. It was cool seeing Bayley back, and I enjoyed it. Overall, NXT was really good. It's almost always a good show. I really enjoyed it. In some ways, I enjoyed it. I can't say it's a better show than last week, because last week was so eventful, but as a regular show, I thought it was really good. Compared to what NXT normally is, I thought it was really entertaining. Most of the stuff I really enjoyed. I'm looking forward to seeing them continue. I'm looking forward to next week and the week after that. And I believe in 2 weeks they're in Atlanta. And NXT, in my opinion, a lot of people talk what happened with NXT with the end of the Black and Gold era. I feel that last year NXT was the best show on TV compared to Raw and SmackDown. This year I feel like NXT is ready to have one of their best years in many years. It looks like the women's division is loaded. Their tag division's really good because they have a great tag team. The main heavyweight title I think is a little bit weak, but they're building up stars. I feel like I'm just really digging NXT right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this year, because I think they're going to have another great year.